Grand Rising. Oh, sure. In the name of the everlasting Father, he that causes all that exists to exist, he that is self-existent, he who directs the sunships of millions and trillions of years, he who made time, the seed of the universe, known among the ancient Kemites or Egyptians as Amun-Ra and Aton, among the Hebrews as Ansar, Yahweh, Elohim, among the Christians as Lord, God, Jehovah, among the Muslims as Allah, the one God, among the Rastafarians as Jah, Rastafari, among the Yoruba tribe as Olodumare, Obatala, and many other. I bear witness that all of those names refer to the same one, Almighty God. And it is to him whom I give reverence and to whom I submit. I boldly proclaim that we, those children of those black men and women who survived the transatlantic slave trade, lost 13 lives, born here in North America, and that we are of a Nubian Kemetic lineage. I further proclaim that the blood of all the nations of the world flow through our veins. I greet you all in the ancient but yet holy words of peace, in the languages of our fathers, of Hotep, Shalom, Assalamu alaikum, Habarigani, Alafia, Ashe, Yashua, as usual. All greetings and salutations of peace in the many different languages of our fathers. I greet you in peace. Welcome, welcome, welcome to the Toma Nation, aka Temple of Mercy Association. We are an all-inclusive, Black conscious, righteous movement dedicated to the upliftment of Black people in the inner cities of North America and throughout the world. I am Brother Minister Rahim Chesed Aton, president, founder of this great movement, along with our co-founder, Minister Omari Jahi Aton, and our First Lady, Sister Makita Aisha Aton. On this great day, they say every day above the earth is a blessing. They say it's better to be judged by 12 than to be carried by 6. And if you all don't understand what that means, just say it in your head 2 or 3 times, and I think it'll come to you. It'll hit sooner or later. But, you know, every day above the earth is a blessing. And especially if you are in your right mind and have the use of your limbs and clarity of thought and your senses are intact and all. If every day that you wake up and all of that is still working, you got to praise God and praise his name because things can be worse. I want to move on with this subject because we only live for 30 minutes, and I want to talk about a nation within a nation. And I want to base it on the Black nation, basically, and how white people recognize that there are 2 nations here in the United States. They even said it, one black, one white, separate but unequal. They said it. A former governor of the state of Illinois, Governor Aton, made that statement when he put together a team of people to look at the United States and its Black people and its white people. And they, after Whatever way they did it to observe it, they came to that conclusion. So in other words, they know that we are a nation within a nation. We don't operate as a nation inside of a nation. That's the only challenge. See, but yet there are many nations operating in the United States inside of the nation. Now, a lot of people say things like, well, they don't really have an individual charter that says that they are a sovereign nation inside of the nation to themselves. This is what the Moors will say. And then they'll say that another group don't have this. But let me show you how they operate inside of a nation. All right. So let's look at the Mormons. They operate as a nation inside of this nation. They own so much land, so much property, so many commercial buildings, you just don't know it's them sometimes. But they operate, and they are a religious body, a religious movement, but they operate inside of a nation. Let's take Scientology or that whole group. They operate as a nation, inside of a nation. So what's that other group? You got the Mormons. That's the group I was thinking of. The Amish. You know, and they got their beliefs, you know, but they operate with buggies and horses and pulling buggies, and the women can't wear high heels. They got to wear flat shoes. They can't wear lipstick. They can't put no straightening iron in their hair. The guys got to dress way down. You know, they can't dress like the people out here. You know, their food is kosher. They eat meat. They operate inside of America as a nation, and nobody bothers them. But let's look at their beginning. Each and every one of them had the government come against them first. They don't pay taxes. Each one. They had the government come against them, call them a cult. They went through the whole process, calling their leader a crazed man and try to do all kind of things against them. The Jehovah's Witness, same thing. They are a nation, inside of a nation. But yet, and they also went through the same thing. Same exact thing as far as the community. First, the community around them came against them. Then the government themselves came against them. A lot of them got arrested. The Moonies, I forgot what they call their organization. I forgot the name of the organization. They're leaving with the because he was trying to operate in the United States when he came over here. So now, why am I using all of them to get back to us? Because I'm saying that we don't have no excuse that we continue to operate where the white man himself, in his own commission that he put out, said that there are two nations. One was black and one is white. He even let you know that we're separate. He even let you know that we are unequal. He said this out of his mouth. Then God gave us two examples that there can be a nation inside of a nation. He gave us the Honorable Marcus Mosiah Garvey. Showed you that you can have a nation inside a nation. And he told us to practice race first. There's nothing wrong with practicing your race first. And if you're a mixed race of people, then you practice your dominant race first. That makes sense, don't it? You practice your dominant race first. And for all black people that got a mixed race, let me tell you something. They say 1 ounce of black blood makes you black. So if you are in a mixed race situation and there's a black person as a part of it, then you black. Let's just keep that straight. And we didn't come up with that statistic. The white man said that. We didn't say that. So if we go along with what he said, he can't take back what he said, because he said that if you got one drop of black blood in you, you're black. We didn't say it, but we agree with it now. It worked to our advantage. See? So Garvey laid a blueprint for a nation inside of a nation. The Nation of Islam took a little bit from that blueprint and operates as a nation inside of a nation. Most fraternal orders, like Prince Hall, International Friend Accepted Modern Masonry, if they actually looked at themselves, they operate, believe it or not, as a nation inside of a nation. You see how it looks? But the reason why we can't get where we want to be, because we don't want to see that. Because somewhere in our mind, we begin to just make ourselves believe, if we start thinking like that, we're against the government. That's what we begin to think, because we don't want to see that others operate smoothly. Went through the hell, went through the backlash, and now they operating, and you don't hear nothing about it. That day I was down there in LA and I saw the Scientology group, and it was late at night. It wasn't too late. It was like 10 o'clock maybe. But it was dark outside, and I saw in another building, they had their one main big building, but they had that whole area. Like a 4-block radius was all theirs, the properties, the everything, the houses. And I saw some kids coming out of a building. And I'm like, what's this? And the girls had on these little short dresses with the pleats in them, skirts like, and some white blouses and some white socks and some shoes. And the boys had on some dress pants and some dress shoes and white shirts and a tie. It was like 40 of them coming out, going into the other building. I said, wow, that's deep. I mean, it blew my mind. They basically operating, you see what I'm saying? But they ain't getting no flack from the government. They operating, doing what they do. They got their bylaws, they got their constitution, they got their dress code, they got everything that operates and helps you become a nation. They have a structure from the highest to the lowest. They even got their own security. Somebody rolled up on me on a bicycle, because I was standing on their steps and taking pictures. He came out of nowhere, pulling up. You can't be out here on our steps and whatnot. Who is you? We security. You know. So what's wrong with us operating as nations inside of a nation? We don't have to be one nation, because there's not no one people that's not split up in different nations. So the Quran itself says, I made you and I divided you in tribes. That's what he called it. In tribes. He said not that we might work against each other, but that we might work together. So we got different tribes here in Chicago. But yet we can't come together and recognize each individual tribe without trying to make the other tribe think that they tribe ain't the real deal, but yours is the real deal. And this is why we have so much conflict. We got the Toma nation, right? We have bylaws, we have a constitution, we have rules of conduct, dress codes, all kinds of things. We got that too. But guess what? We in the same predicament as the others. If you don't think like a nation, you can't be a nation. I don't care how much paperwork you got. Now this work from the floor to the ceiling about you being a nation, and you don't think like one. If you don't think like one, you can't operate like one. If you don't believe you one, you can't be one. Because it starts in the heart and in the mind, and then you become that nation. See, when I first went to international as an entered apprentice, I was here in Chicago when they had the convention in the 80s. And I met William V. Banks. And about 2 months after that convention is when he died. And when I came, I was so in awe. I'm serious. When I went into the main thing before they split off, And I saw about 500, 700, maybe 1,000 sisters over here. And I saw maybe 700, 800 brothers over here. And the diocese and all up there was just, oh man, I say, wow, we powerful. Look what we could do. And in my mind already, I was thinking, man, I can get them to go out with us and we can walk all around in the community. We could do this, we could do that. Oh, I was so happy. I was happy. Till I found out they, again, didn't have the mindset of a nation or a nationalist. They kept it fraternal. Y'all catching what I'm saying? I don't know. I'm hoping y'all are catching what I'm saying. See, you can have 5,000 people, 10,000 people, and you be the leader over them. But if you're scared to operate as a nation because you feel like you can't take the weight of the government coming against you, and you're not looking at the past, how if you just continue in that way, they'll back down a little bit. They came at the Nation of Islam. But look, they're not on them like they used to be, are they? Because they weathered the storm. And they stayed on the battlefield. And they fought back. And they had lawyers. They got lawyers to come in. They had people studying and investigating and bringing back information all day long so that the minister can come up and speak back at them from what they call his bully pulpit. That's where you can bully people because you can't talk back until he finished. And if you try to, the security get you up out of there. So he can bully you on the pulpit. That's why they call it that. And so I'm saying, if God said in his book, thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven, isn't he trying to say that if we do the will, the same will that's being done in heaven on earth, doesn't that mean that we got to manifest it? Or was it going to manifest by itself? Huh? It wasn't going to manifest by itself because Jesus came and told us himself that the kingdom of heaven is in you. But if you covering all your heaven with your mess, you'll never see heaven. I'll say that again. If you covering all your heaven with your mess, you'll never see heaven. You can be walking around and still won't see heaven. You could be in a mansion and still won't see heaven. You could be a millionaire and won't see heaven. You even got that man who shooting all them rockets out there. Musk. What's his name? Elon Musk. He can't see heaven, but he's shooting all his rockets out there. He can't see heaven, and he live in a big house, big home, because he don't want to believe what Jesus said heaven is found. He even told you how you can manifest the heaven. He told you. He didn't leave you hanging. He didn't say, oh, it's just stuck inside, live with it. He ain't say that, did he? I don't see nowhere where he said that, but he did tell you this. He gave you a hint. He said the kingdom of heaven is at hand. That's an extension from your body. It's at hand. And we know a hand, when you see it, is symbolic of something being manual, not automatic. So what is he trying to tell you? You got to work to bring it out. You got to work. You got to have discipline to bring it out. And then it began to materialize as you will yourself into becoming a diplomat or an ambassador of Christ. What is an ambassador and a diplomat? Y'all ever heard of diplomatic immunity? Who would you love to have it for, representing this government or heaven, the kingdom to come? I'd rather have diplomatic immunity based on I'm representing the kingdom to come. I think that's better than any other form of diplomatic immunity that you can get on this planet. Mine gets me all over the world. Planetary immunity. I might as well call it that. Planetary immunity. Because I know, look, y'all don't believe this, and I'm gonna tell it to y'all because it ain't crazy if somebody else told me. See, when you crazy, you'll just tell things only you know. But if people telling you things and they showing it to you, then you ain't crazy. You know. My niece, she told her daughter, she said, your uncle can go anywhere he want to. Don't nothing. Ain't no door. I watched him. We was going into some theater or something, and we all got stopped to pay our ticket, and he kept going, and they ain't saying nothing to him like he wasn't even there, you know. And then another time, my sister was going to get an operation, and they said only one person can come with her. So her daughter came with her, and I said, I'll be there. I walked into the hospital. The people was at the desk. I walked in like I owned the hospital. I just walked, kept going, turned right, went to the elevator. Nobody said, as a matter of fact, somebody waved at me. I said, hey, how you doing? Kept going. And I walked up, got on the elevator, and it just so happened my niece and my sister was coming out of down the hallway from the other end and came right toward the elevator. And when the door opened, my niece said, I knew it. She said, I knew it. I knew he would be here. I said, yep, I'm right here. See, that's diplomatic immunity representing the kingdom of God on earth. You get a pass. See, I'm going to show you another one, how you know. I went in a bank, and I remember the bank over on 70. I think it was, I forgot the name of the bank. I remember where it was at. It was on Jeffrey back then, like 71st and Jeffrey. Remember, there used to be a bank there? Shore Bank. I went in there one day to cash a check, and after she cashed the check and all, she gave it to me, gave me the money. She said, have a nice day, Pastor. I said, what? I was looking for some kind of something on me that said that, right? Something, you know. And I say, how'd you know? She said, you carry that light. You carry that light. I said, well, thank you. And I walked away. And I'm telling you, to be an ambassador of Christ is the best diplomatic immunity you could have representing God's kingdom. And so you should try to manifest your good as often as you can, to the best degree that you can. And when you slip and fall away, just ask forgiveness and get back on your feet and still be an ambassador. Because even that's showing that you're a righteous ambassador because you repented when you ask forgiveness. Because they watching you. You see, people are watching you. People are watching you saying, you supposed to be this person of God. They'd say that in a minute. Oh, in 1 minute. Oh, I thought you was this minister or this person of God. They'll say that in a minute. That's when they know you won. But other than that, they don't respect you. But see, this minister in Toma believes in building the kingdom of heaven on earth. Why? Is this the kingdom that God is saying is to come? No. But he gives you a chance to build a prototype. Y'all know what a prototype is. That means you have the ability to build a replica. That's another word. Maybe you want to look it up. Of the kingdom of heaven on earth. That you have that ability. He say, don't wait until the kingdom get here across the whole planet. Show the people what it's going to look like. Build it right now. Show me. And you look at the members of the Nation of Islam walking around like they doing. You see the Israel of God walking around in they purple with 1,000 men walking up and down the street and all over the place. You know what I'm saying? These are the different tribes that we supposed to respect. That we ain't supposed to be trying to bring them down. But we supposed to be trying to be diplomats with one another. Knowing each other's language. Ain't that what a diplomat's supposed to know? That whatever country he go to, knowing each other's culture, what food they eat, what food they don't eat, What embarrasses them, the way you might sit at the table, or the way you might get your food with your hand and whatever, and belch and all this and that, you know, like you might do at home. What you call it? Customs. A diplomat has to know the customs. See, and he fits more our description of being all inclusive. But he's coming with his customs from his country. So it's certain things he won't bend on that would make his company or his custom or his country look diminished in the eyesight of the others. Give you a good example so you can see what I mean. When Obama became president, he did mostly what black people do when we greet each other. You know how we greet, we go, hey, how you doing? And we do like that, just a little bit. What's up, bro? You know? And he went into another country. I forgot where it was. I don't know if it was China or Russia. It was one of those big countries. And he had just got in office, and he shook the president's hand and said, how you do? They said all over the paper, front page of the Tribune, Sun Times, every newspaper, New York Times, everything. The president bows to that leader. That's what they said. Making him look bad on the first day. See, because we in America don't bow to nobody. We stand straight up and shake your hand when we going into another country. We don't bow and kiss the ring of the Saudi Arabian prince or king, except for at CBS. I just got to tell the truth. When I was working at CBS, the Saudi Arabia king came to be on one of the talk shows or something at that time. And my job was to keep them company until they was ready to come on. And so he came in and people ran out and did a curtsy. I don't know how you do it. You fold your leg and do something. And I'm like, what the hell wrong with these people? And then Walter Jacobson and all them ran out and kissed the man's ring and everything. He was in full garb, the whole route, you know, thing on in the robe, all that. I said, glad to meet you. I stuck my head. Say, glad to meet you. Come on right on in. Bring your entourage. Come on, have a seat right on over here. Ain't kissing nobody's ring. The hell I'm gonna do that for? I mean, I was kind of like a rebel when I worked at CBS. They got rid of me. You know, there was a white girl working with me. I'm trying to show you now. Reason I'm telling y'all this because if you represent a kingdom to come, you better represent it. And anything you do to diminish it makes you look bad. It was a white girl I was working with. I was doing front desk security at a certain time. And she wasn't feeling good that day. She was on her monthly, so to speak. And she said it to me. She said, I don't want to hear you talking today because I don't feel good. And I don't feel like hearing you talk. I said, is that right? So people was coming in. I say, how y'all doing? This woman here talking about she don't want to hear me talk. There's something wrong with her. Next person come in, hey, how you doing? I say, this woman here is crazy. Hey, how you doing? Then I got on the phone and started calling people and everything. Then she gonna call the security guard in the back. He was a white boy, say, come on up here and change places with Daryl because I'm not finna take that, all this and that. And I got on the phone and said, you come up here, it's gonna be two of us, it's gonna be a part in the back, ain't secure. And then at the end of the day, the boss, when everybody was leaving, came down and he did like this. And I came over to him. He said, don't start no trouble. I looked at him. Like you a boy. Yeah. I said, okay, I hear you. I said, but I have one question for you. I said, when I come in tomorrow and she tells me to talk and I don't want to talk, are you going to come down here and make me talk? And he looked at me, bucked his eyes out and walked out the door. Next day I was fired. But I didn't care because I represent a God that created him, created them white folks, created us and all. And I only bow to that understanding. That's it. I only worship that understanding. Whether I can see it or not, If I can't see this God, then I'll manifest him in me. Make sure you can. Or I'll look for him being manifest in someone else. And then I'll let him know, I see God in you. A brother told me one day,
Weekly Sunday worship service. We invite you and your family to join us live every Sunday at 616 East 71st Street at our new time from 12:30 to 1:30 p.m. and on Facebook from 12:30 to 1 p.m. If you have enjoyed what you have heard, please feel free to support us with a monetary gift on Cash App at $TOMANATION. Once again, that's $TOMANATION. This will conclude our live stream. The message you have been listening to will continue live here at the Toma headquarters. We thank you, Black family. See you next Sunday. Black Power.
This is the eternal divine spirit, the one that causes all that exists to exist, the one that is self-existent.
How many men have children and the children never meet their father? See, you created a void in that child because you are a part of that child.
Black power.